Welcome to the Mystic Millionaire podcast, where wealth is energy, success is a mindset, and abundance is your birthright. I am Danielle Amos, your host and mentor, here to help you unlock prosperity, embody confidence, and manifest a life you love. Take a breath, align with your truth, and let's manifest millions. This episode is about not letting life stop you. Not letting your circumstances or the events that you attract that maybe you don't prefer get in the way from you doing what you know that you're meant to do, from you living your life purpose. Like this podcast, to be honest, this podcast you may have noticed has been on hold for the past 6 months. And I've had a lot of life happening in the background, lots of reasons and excuses. And I had to make a decision that now is the time. Now is the time that it is being rebirthed. And I hired a team. I hired support in all areas of my life, actually, not just in business. I attracted the right people to be by my side during this season of my life. So for those of you that might not know, I'm going through a separation and a rebirth, my own rebirth as the Mystic Millionaire mentor. And because of what's been going on behind the scenes, I let a few things slide and we're back. And so I'm celebrating that. And today I want to talk to you about the importance of not letting the circumstances in your life stop you. The old me, way back, let's talk like 10 years ago, I want to talk about the way that I used to be. And then even how the circumstances have seen me showing up recently and how that's been different. And I'd love to know if it resonates with you, if you can relate to my story. So like 10 years ago, before I was introduced to this material and mindset and the idea of taking responsibility for your life, I was a really good victim. And I'd have something happen, like a fight with my then husband. I maybe wasn't getting the support that I wanted from him, or I really believed that he didn't believe in me. He didn't believe in what I was doing. He didn't agree with what I was doing as a coach. Definitely didn't agree with the material. And we'd fight about the decisions that I was making, how I was in network marketing. He would tell me it was embarrassing. And we would fight, and that fight would actually take me out. I'd get really upset. I'd have puffy eyes, I'd be crying, and sometimes that downtime would leave me in bed for days, maybe even a week, and I'd cancel events, and it didn't work, quite frankly. I mean, if you're in network marketing, if any of you are in any sales-based business, actually, you know the importance of getting in front of prospects and getting in front of potential clients. And I'd have events booked, and then we'd have this fight. And at that time, it felt like I'd have no choice but to cancel. Because how could I go out with these puffy eyes and being upset and be in front of people after this fight? Like, they were going to know, it was obvious. And I just played the victim role. And instead, it felt easier to go lie in bed and cry and say, woe was me. And that would last for quite a while. And I would blame him, and I would say things like, you sabotaged me. You knew that I had a really important event to go to. And yet here's this fight happening right before. None of it was ever anything that I needed to take responsibility. All the blame went on him. And don't get me wrong, I believe that we both had a part to play. But what I didn't realize was that I could actually take my power back and recognize that although I didn't want that situation, It was still an attraction that was coming from me, and that I could take responsibility for what I was bringing into my life and take responsibility on the perception or for the perception of that event. And instead of being a victim, recognize that I could change my perception about the event itself and get out of bed faster. I recognized that I was emotional about what happened and not ignore my emotions, but instead use tools to allow the emotions to run to and through me, and then literally transmute those emotions and use them as fuel to go forward and use it in my presentation or have it become a big part of my why as to why I was going out as an entrepreneur and getting in front of potential prospects and clients. It took something to do this, but when I realized that I could actually do that, it was so empowering. I went from being a victim as to like what was happening in my marriage and blaming the other person, to becoming the empowered version of me that could take what's happened and say, Danielle, I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm not going to let him stop me. I'm not going to let that event or circumstance stop me. And instead, I'm going to use it to empower me to empower other people. And that's what I did. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. So I'm going to give you a few steps and a few tools that you can use when you attract. And it is you attracting the circumstance. Don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying like you deserve it. I'm not saying that you're asking for it. And yet it's what you've attracted into your life. So on some level, you're a vibrational match for it. And for me, that felt like a punch in the gut. When I first realized that it was my own vibration, my self-image, my self-worth at that time that was attracting the circumstance into my life that had me in tears, that had me hear things like, you're a fraud, what you're doing doesn't work. And I could go on. And that part's not important other than to maybe you relate to not feeling supported inside your home. When I took responsibility, that was part of my attraction, that I could do something about it. I could change the way that I felt about myself. And most importantly, not let the circumstance stop me. So I said I'd give you some tools. So let's go into those tools. So first of all, you want to understand that the way that you perceive a situation, the way you think and feel about any situation is your choice. And it's your responsibility. And I'm going to talk straight up to you and in a way that I hope that you can feel my empathy for your situation that you attract, but then also not allow you to stay in bed for days or weeks or even months and say, woe was me, victim. Because there are a lot of people probably in your life that will enable you to do that. And I believe that you are stronger than that. You're more worthy than that to have an event stop you. And so it might sound a little bit harsh. I'm going to say, like, get out of bed and let's go for it. And draw a line in the sand, no more victim, full responsibility, and transmuting your feelings and taking your power back. Okay, so the first step is to understand that you have a perception muscle. The way that you were perceiving the event in victim mode allowed you to stay in victim. And anytime that you believe yourself to be a victim and play the woe is me card, that something is happening to you, life will continue to give you examples and reasons for you to say that you're a victim. So I want you to stop that. It's like draw a line in the sand. You're not a victim. You're not a victim. You're fully empowered, and everything that's coming to you in your life is actually happening for you. And the moment that you take responsibility, you can transform your thoughts and feelings to attract something different. And only you can transform that thinking. No one can change your thinking for you. So your perception muscle is a powerful one, and it will allow you to change your point of view so that you can see your situation from a different lens. And I invite you to take like a different view, a God's eye view or a higher self view, where you look at your situation, the one that you just attracted into your life that you don't prefer, and ask yourself, what's in it for me? What's the lesson here? What can I notice and recognize about myself? This is not about the other person, but for myself, where is the learning? What tool can I gather? What lesson? And if you take a moment and harvest the good in the situation, it may not be easy, but I promise you that there's good in it. There is a lesson in it. There's something. And if you're honest with yourself, you'll see it. Your higher self will give you that information. So I like to take pen to paper and I journal to find out what it is. And I allow my emotions to run through me, as it might be an emotional time to even recognize what the lesson is, and that's okay. So journal or sit quiet and reflect on the situation and see the situation from a higher lens, not so much stuck in the messiness of it, but take a perception and even go use time. Ask yourself, like 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 1 year from now, 10 years from now, when I look back on this particular event, what would my higher self tell me? What's the lesson here? And how could I be different? Respond differently, act differently, and write it down. And then ask yourself, how can I embody this lesson moving forward? How can I walk with this lesson embodied? And make a note for yourself. And you'll have a realization. So that perception is key. And it will allow you to notice how life is happening for you, not to you. And then your other muscles, you want to use your imagination. Now imagine now you show up in this situation from your goal achieved self, from the person, the version of you who has integrated the lesson. So the next time something similar happens, what's different for you? This will allow you to get into the realm of possibility rather than stuck in that victim consciousness. You now will change your perception. You use your imagination to see yourself responding from a totally different place and taking your power back. Other muscles that you can use to help you in the situation is your intuition. So when you're in any situation where you're reacting from your habitual self and you're reacting really fast, and it's like a fight or flight mechanism to keep you safe, use a tool to slow down, to connect to yourself. Breathe, use gratitude, close your eyes, connect to your heart. Remind yourself of who and what you are as a spiritual being in this physical body. And as you connect to that truth, tap into your own wisdom and your own intuition. That this moment of time is one small moment, and you make the decision that it's not going to stop you. And allow intuition, infinite intelligence, God, your higher self, to give you wisdom. So these are some of the tools that I like to use and what I've used over the past 10 years and specifically in the last 6 months of my life as I've been navigating some rocky territory. And what I've learned is that no matter what the circumstances are that you attract into your life, you are bigger, you are wiser than them, and they don't need to stop you. So make the decision that you're going to use the tools literally from your tool belt. Maybe one of the tools that I shared with you today resonates. Write it down and have it there for yourself. The next time a circumstance comes to you, don't let it stop you. Be the person that gets back up, faster, wiser, ready to respond from your higher self, rather than that victim consciousness. So if you'd like to know more, go deeper into this, I invite you to become a subscriber to the Mystic Millionaire podcast, where I'm going to go deeper into some of these concepts and share how recently, in the past 6 months to a year, as I've been navigating some rocky territory for myself, and how I've been using these tools in my own life and not getting stopped.